What's happening? What y'all know about Scarface? Y'all don't know about no Scarface. What's going on? If you're looking at this face and listening to this voice, you are officially back on the hot seat. I am your esteemed host, Smoke, and I know there's nowhere else you'd rather be. Y'all know we doing the hot seat, man. We set somebody's ass on fire. And today, we are welcoming our Florida State Seminoles back to the hot seat. If you remember the last time we left Florida State, we did a state of the program address where we discussed. It was right after the ULM game. Shout out to ULM. I went there for about a year or so. Good school. Talked about the very underwhelming performance they had, the direction of the program, what did it change, things like that. So today we're just going to touch on some things as it relates to got Clemson this week, revisit some things we spoke about in the state of the program address, and life after this Clemson game. So without any further ado, man, paying homage to the ghost over my left and my right shoulder, let's get into it. Florida State back. Florida State is back. We back, baby. No, they're not. I just lied to you. Felt good to say though. Uh, looking at things over the course of the season, Florida State 3-2. When we left, they were 1-1. They're 2-1 since then. Back-to-back victories, and I get it. Winning cures everything. Because I say that because I remember where the hell y'all was after that goddamn ULM game, y'all. Y'all was ready to slit y'all wrist. Y'all was ready to jump off the goddamn edge. Rightfully so, because things were really fucked up. But I just really wanted to offer some type of clarity to what was going on, put things in their proper perspective, put things in context. And here again, they're sitting 3-2. And one thing I want to touch on specifically is the quarterback situation. Willie Tacker's come out and said that James Blackman is going to start as he should. And they're still going to mix in Alex Hornibrook, get him a few series in, whatever the case may be. I ain't with that shit, guys. I'm sorry. Listen, I guess maybe because I'm old school, but if you got two quarterbacks, you don't have one. Some of y'all lied to me. Some of y'all out here real bullish on Alex Hornibrook, talking about all the shit that he can do better than James Blackman and how he was going to make the offense run more smooth. And, yeah, he was a goddamn lie. And listen, I don't want to be a hypocrite because I was a person who said at the end of the state of the program address that at the very least, Florida State needs to revisit this quarterback situation simply because the same James Blackman we saw as a true freshman up until the end of that ULM game, he hadn't progressed much. The same issue he had as it relates to his short to intermediate game. The same issues he had as to holding on the ball too long, not being able to read defenses. You know, among other things, he still had those problems the first two games of the season. So I thought at the very least, they should take a look at what's going on and if there was a better option. So we look at Alex Hornibrook and he ain't it. Yeah, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying he's not better than James Blackman, right? And shit, some of the shit y'all said he could do well or at least better than James, I don't fucking see it. He holds on to the goddamn ball too long. Y'all said he was going to be able to extend plays. Listen, man, I saw times when he rolled out of the pocket and he shouldn't have. I saw times when he stepped up in the pocket and he shouldn't have. If you look at the 8 sacks NC State got, at least half of them were due to whatever it was Alex Hornibrook was trying to do. They were his fault. At least half of them were. Both of them have the same issues as it relates to reading, missing reads, to where you'll see a wide receiver wide open streaking down the sideline and they don't even see the motherfucking receiver. You know, he has a nice little touch on this deep ball, but he doesn't have the arm James Blackman has. I thought he was going to have better success in the RPO. Didn't really see that. Again, small sample size, a game and a half, but I just didn't see it. I didn't see anything warranting him splitting time with James Blackman. I'm not with this two quarterback shit. I'm really not. I saw Josh Newberg write a piece on Nose 24/7 as it relates to he thinks that Kendall Browse isn't a fan of this either. Whether he is or whether he isn't, it doesn't make sense to me. Because let's just say James Blackman is in the groove, right? The offense is clicking. You stop that shit, you hit the pause button just to get Alex Hornibrook some touches. Man, fuck that. if the offense is clicking, do what's working with you. Keep feeding the bull. Keep going with what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Don't just derail this shit because as an offense coordinator, if that is the case, like I said earlier, I can understand where Kendall Brown is coming from. At the very least, you want consistency and cohesion on the offensive side of the ball, especially with your quarterback. And you can't really have that when you're changing them in and changing them out. So again, I understand his frustration if he has any. I'm not feeding into what Josh is saying. I'm just saying that if there is frustration, I get it. Moving on from that, his goddamn offensive line. What can I say about the offensive line that hasn't already been said? They've regressed. Our best offensive lineman is a true freshman. Shout out to Dante Lucas. He's done a hell of a job thus far. I don't know why a lot of y'all were bullish on Brady Scott to start the season, and I didn't see it then, and I don't see it now. He's been a disappointment. You were saying he was so versatile because he played multiple positions. He played out of position last year. He finally had some experience. He was going to do well at what he was doing right now, and nah, I don't see it. Bavion Johnson has been a disappointment. Number one center coming out of college. Number one center in the country coming out of high school. He's been in the program 3 years, and I'm not saying he's not better than Alec Eberle, but if he is, it ain't by much. There's really no need to talk about Abdul Bello. Y'all know what it is. Not sure why you're still playing Mike Arnold. Saw that Cole Minshew came back to practice today. Got some reps with the third team. Saw Juwan Williams come back. Got some reps with the third team. Doubt they'll play this coming Saturday against Clemson. But shit, to see them is a sight for sore eyes because shit. I'm not ragging on the offensive line. I think Randy Clements has done a good a job as he can with what he has to work with because you know that the offensive line isn't very talented. And you look at what Kendall Browse has done with that offensive line. Well, not with the offensive line, but the offensive general with that offensive line. It's magical. Shit, it's like a goddamn magician because to produce the way Florida State has produced with that offensive line, that's pretty impressive. To me, it's pretty impressive. Here's my biggest worry about the offensive line. I saw time and time again NC State throw the kitchen sink at Alex Hornibrook, and Florida State didn't block it well at all. Like, I don't know. This is the 5th game of the season, and you still see them missing assignments. Like, they can't block a twist or a stunt at all. And it's not even technique. It's just knowing your assignment, knowing what to do. And my fear is, like I said, more teams are going to start doing this shit. And, yeah, like I said, what can I say about the offensive line that hasn't already been said, man? I need to clean that shit up. Hopefully when Minshew gets healthy and hopefully when Juwan Williams gets healthier, it'll give that line an added boost because it definitely needs it. Moving on to the defense. I told y'all Harlan Barnett was going to be back. The defense has changed, and it's all because of Harlan Barnett.
Man, sit your ass down.
Just lied to your ass again. It's not because of Harlan Barnett. I don't think it's because of Harlan Barnett. It's a coincidence, man. Jim Levitt, man, imagine if Jim Levitt would have been here the entire season. Even Dabo said it. Florida State should be 5-0.
Easily the most talented team we played to this point. So going into Game 6, on paper, roster, they're the most talented group. And so we got a big challenge there, and they're getting better. Should probably be 5-0. You know.
Imagine if Jim Levitt was here the entire season. Yeah, I told y'all last show, man. The administration is handcuffing Willie. Jim Levitt should have been here, man. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that, but I'm not going to waste too much time talking about it. The headbutting motherfucker, as he's affectionately known in the 5th quarter. Pause. Just to get off topic for a second. I follow all Florida State publications. I am in tune and engaged with all FSU media. If you were not fucking with the 5th quarter, you are missing out. Shout out to Big Game James, man. The insight this cat has week to week is unmatched. Seriously. And he does. It's not like he's paying me to do this shit. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even know I fucking exist. I'm just telling you, I'm a member of the fifth quarter. I'm a member of all these things. Like I said, I spend my hard-earned money on all this shit just to get as much inside information as I can get. And he's where it's at. I'm in the chat rooms. I'm on all of the different message boards and stuff like that. And I see the meltdowns you motherfuckers had after the first two games. And he was one person who offered perspective. They were able to give insight on what was really going on. And he has great sources. So fuck with the fifth quarter. Not just saying, not saying it because I'm telling you to, but because, like, just give it a try. You won't be disappointed, man. But again, shout out to Big Game James. Like I was saying, Jim Levitt has turned this defense around. The defensive line is starting to do exactly what we thought it was going to do. Marvin Wilson, Corey Durden, Big Marv Cooper. The linebackers are still the linebackers. I don't know what the fuck to say about the linebackers, but even they look better, right? Like I think Dontavius Jackson played well against NC State, right? I know a lot of y'all ready to kill that goddamn boy. Shit, I was ready to kill that goddamn boy, so I know y'all were too. They finally Leonard Warner is playing what he's supposed to be playing, right? And he looks better. Think about, the confidence you see this team have. Because I don't think a lot of has changed schematically. It has a tad bit, but they're more confident. And their confidence has produced a better effort. Like, if you want to key in on one person, look at Cyrus Fagan. Look at Cyrus Fagan the last season. Look at Cyrus Fagan the first 2 or 3 games this year. He looks like an entirely different player. He really does. So, again, shout out to my man Jim Levitt or whomever's over there calling the goddamn plays for Florida State. Keep doing what you're doing. Gotta move on to the schedule here. And this is what I mean by post-Clemson, life after Clemson. Florida State not winning that game. There's some of you out here drinking the goddamn Kool-Aid as it relates to the fact that Clemson hasn't really played up to their standards or up to par all season. They actually look bad a few games. They look pretty bad against UNC. And some of y'all think that Florida State can go in Death Valley and still win because they're not playing well. Well, newsflash, Florida State isn't playing well. Don't confuse making progress with playing well. Florida State has not put together a complete game all season. So how are you not going to play well and go in and upset a national championship team that isn't playing well either at their home? That doesn't make sense. So I'm not finna blow no smoke up your ass and tell you that Florida State has a chance in hell. I don't think they do. If they do, great. I love to be wrong in this area, but I don't think it. I just don't want to get fucking embarrassed. That's all I'm looking for. But I'm not finna be up here saying we stand a chance. No, sir, I do not think we stand a chance. The issue is the game after Clemson. Wake Forest 5-0, and by the time Florida State strolls in there, they'll be 6-0. Dave Clawson got that team clicking. They'll finally, I think this is the first time they've been ranked under Dave Clawson. So shout out to him, good job, whatever. Here's the issue. Florida State goes in Clemson, they come out of Clemson 3-3. You can't go into Wake Forest and leave Winston-Salem 3-4. I think Willie Taggart desperately needs a game to whereas you can point to and say, this is where things turned around. This is where things changed for Florida State. Because right now the team, they've gotten away from everything that you heard from the team when they were 1-1 and 1-2. All of the negative energy that was around that team, for the most part, been gone because winning cures everything. What's going to happen if they get destroyed at Clemson and then they lose to Wake Forest? They'll be 3-4. A lot of people think this team has aspirations of being 8-4. Well, shit. Here's the road to it, because when you look at the schedule, after Wake Forest, you have Syracuse coming to Florida State. You got Miami, who I think that's the winnable game. You go to Boston College. You have Alabama State, and then you go to Florida. I think Florida is one of those teams you can pencil in as an L. I think Florida's going to handle Florida State pretty well. But that game in between, that Wake Forest game, Willie Taggart needs a signature win. This could be that signature win. I think he desperately needs this game. So I'm not saying just wave the white flag against Clemson. What I am saying is you have to make your team is still intact mentally and physically going into the Wake Forest game because that's a game you cannot afford to lose. Um, One thing I want to get on before I get off this Florida State clip is Ricky Aguayo. Dude, hopefully you've kicked your last football at Florida State University. And some of y'all have been mean to that kid. God damn, I've heard some mean racist shit from y'all people about that goddamn boy. Calm the fuck down. Like, shit. I get it. You know, Florida State isn't good enough to continually leave 6 point, 3 point, 12 points on the goddamn field and think they're going to beat in the goddamn body. Florida State can continue to get behind and down in distance, 3rd and 12, 2nd and 20, because you can't just expect DJ Matthews to keep making catches to get you ahead of the change. I get it. You cannot continue to miss kicks. So I don't know if Fitzgerald is the answer. I don't know if that kid that had kicking points at the end of the game against NC State is the answer. I don't fucking know. But I do know Ricky Aguayo needs to be the backup water boy. He shouldn't get back on the field. Like, kid, you got one job. And I mean, you literally have one job because you don't do kickoffs. All you do is kick field goals. That's it. You can't get that shit right, get him the fuck out of here. All right? Before I go, I want to talk about Jonathan Sutherland and the Penn State issue with Mr. I think his name is Dave Peterson. If y'all don't know, Jonathan Sutherland plays for Penn State. He received a letter from a Penn State alumnus by the name of Dave Peterson, Drew Peterson, whatever the fuck his name is. And I'll read you the letter. I'll post it so you can follow along. I'll read you the letter. And it's basically what a time to be alive. We are Penn State. Is this fucking letterhead, Dave? What the fuck? We are Penn State, proud, with a bunch of exclamation points. Dear Jonathan, my wife and I are proud older graduates of Penn State. We follow all Penn State sports: football, wrestling, volleyball, gymnastics, basketball. We love it all. I played all the sports in my younger days. Still play full court basketball into my 50s, and I bet you fucking sucked. Loved the competition, but never had the size or the talent to reach your level, though the desire was there. Though the athletes of today are certainly superior to those in my days, we miss the clean-cut young men and women from those days. Watching the Idaho game on TV, we couldn't help but notice your, well, awful hair. Surely there must be mirrors in the locker room. Don't you have parents or a girlfriend who've told you those shoulder-length dreads look disgusting and certainly not attractive? I'm pretty sure there should have been a question mark there. We congratulate you on your game against Pitt. You need to remember you represent all Penn Staters, both the current and those alumni from years past. We would welcome reappearance. We would welcome the reappearance of dress codes for athletes. You will certainly be playing on Sunday. Those quotation marks? Where the fuck did that come? You will certainly be playing on Sunday in the future, but we stopped watching NFL due to the disgusting tattoos, awful hair, and immature actors in the end zone. Yeah, sure, that's exactly why you stopped watching. Right. Players should act as though they've been there before. For the glory, Dave Peterson. Listen, before I go any further, before I dive in on Dave ass, the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to Jonathan Sutherland. Jonathan Sutherland posted on his social media, I guess, a rebuttal to what Dave had to say. And listen, I couldn't be more proud of you. The road you decided to take, the high road you decided to take, I didn't even know that road existed, my man. That was beautiful. It was eloquently put. And again, I could not be more proud of you. The amount of maturity you showed in all of this, you were ahead of your time. I don't think I could have physically done what you've done in the face of what that guy said. So I don't want to go move any further without giving you kudos, tipping my hat to you. You most definitely deserve it. The AD and James Franklin. Shout out to James Franklin, head coach for Penn State Nittany Lions. He had he started off his press conference with addressing it, and it was well worded, well put. The AD, they all seem to be behind the team. They all seem to be behind the kids. Mr. Peterson, I got a question for you. If I'm not mistaken, Penn State generated, I think, maybe like $80 plus million in revenue, probably almost $50 in profit off the backs of these players. And the players don't get compensated. That's modernized slavery if I've never seen it. How many letters have you written to come to the defense of these players, even though you know that they're participating in modernized slavery and they're not getting compensated for it? They're making millions upon millions of dollars for your beloved Nittany Lions. Why haven't you written any? Have you written? I like my mama say, I'm willing to bet my next 5 checks to a bucket of shit. Your senile racist ass ain't written a goddamn letter about these players not getting paid, right? How many letters? I know y'all remember Jerry Sandusky. I know y'all remember Jerry Sandusky. How many letters did you write when you found out the university was covering up Jerry Sandusky molesting kids? How many letters did you write when you found out Joe Paterno was helping cover that shit up? If anybody believes that Joe Pa didn't know about this shit and was helping cover it up or ignoring it, I got some oceanfront property in Idaho I want to sell your stupid ass. How many letters did you write in defense of that? How many letters did you write and say, hey, this ain't right, or hey, something need to be done? How would you prefer them look? Like this? I tucks in my shirt, master. And since you says I'd be going to play in the league on Sundays, I guess I's comb my hair too, master. Since I'd be going to the big house now. That's how they should look. That's how I'm picturing them when I read this bullshit you decided to grace them with. Mr. Alumnus, Mr. Penn State alumni. Listen, guys. I'm not going to really touch the comment he made about he doesn't want that player looking like the players you see at Florida State and players you see at Miami. Not really going to touch on that shit. I'm going to touch on the fact that when somebody attacks our own, we got to fucking stand up. I'm just now starting this channel. I'm just not getting it off the ground. There's a lot I have to learn, a lot I have to do to grow this channel. And I may be jeopardizing it due to how strict UTB is on things like this. But I may be jeopardizing it by saying what I've said and what I'm going to say. But it needs to be said. And if it happens, then it was worth it. Mr. Dave Peterson, fuck you. And fuck anybody like you. I can be reached by facts.